that's something that you should probably figure out with your doctor. Hello party people, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. We got a new video today. I got some new hair, new tan. I know it's been a while. We're not going to talk about that. I'd apologize for it being a while, but you and I both know that I'm going to do this again and disappear and come back like it's a thing. So we're going to breeze right over that and just get into it about what we are going to discuss today. I'm not even really sure how to describe what type of video this is going to be because I have a lot of feelings and all of them right now are about bloating. I want to talk about bloating from a lot of perspectives. Mainly what inspired this was some of the content and discussion surrounding bloating right now, and some of the perspectives and the narrative surrounding it and the language that's being used to describe it is a little off-putting to me. So I wanted to touch on that as well. I also just wanted to, you know me, science-minded, I wanted to insert some just facts behind it and some of the general causes of bloating, why it's natural, why it happens, why we don't even have to worry about it. If you really want tips on how to alleviate it once you're experiencing it, because I get it. It's easy to say, it's natural, I don't care, but like, if you did not feel so bloated, like, wouldn't you choose that? So I will be providing that for those of you who are looking for that. Natural ways only. No diarrhea tea here. We're not doing that. So without further ado, let's get into this video. The reason I am filming today's video is because bloating has been just a part of my journey since day one. Actually, you know what? That's not true. Because when I first started working out and really started getting into health and nutrition and all of that stuff, I was pretty overweight. I don't know if I would qualify as obese. I mean, we both know BMI is trash, but I was fairly overweight. So bloating, well, I knew it happened and I would feel it. It didn't really affect me that much. I didn't notice a difference. I mean, my stomach looked pretty chubby regardless. It was cute though. It's cute chubby, to be honest. But I've noticed it now as I've gotten leaner, cause more of an emotional toll on myself, because being bloated can now make the difference between waking up with abs and not waking up with abs. And that sounds ridiculous, that can ruin someone's mood so easily, but it really can. You know, feeling like you just don't look lean when you know you've put in the work for no reason that you can control or is your fault, is just, it's a crappy feeling. And I've been able to put it away for the most part because I know my math. Like, I know if I'm reaching a goal, if I do the things I know I need to do, that I will get to that goal regardless of any fluctuations in between. So there's another shame element added to that. You know, I get upset about the bloating and then I'm upset because it shouldn't matter, and it's a whole thing. And I thought, instead of trying to hide behind all of that and pretend like it doesn't matter, then I should just get out in front of it and talk about it, because I'm sure everyone deals with this to some extent. And, you know, in honor of that revelation, I am wearing this fabulous leotard from Fabletics that I actually had a panic attack about last weekend because I thought it really accentuated the parts of my body that retained water. And you know what? It does. You know what? It doesn't matter. So we're wearing it today. And we're talking about why bloating's not a big deal at all. I'm telling this to myself almost as much as I'm telling it to you, but it helps to get it out there. Let's start by defining what we're talking about when we're talking about bloating. Like I said, we're not talking about any serious medical conditions. We're not talking about bloating in the sense of severe food intolerances or allergies that cause, you know, significant pain and discomfort, because what I'm going to speak on doesn't apply to that. I'm going to talk a lot about our urgency to rid ourselves of bloat, and that doesn't apply to people who are really dealing with painful aspects of it, because in that sense, I get it. You don't want it. Like, I'm not going to tell you not to demonize bloat when it's like attacking your body and to such a degree. So that aside, the bloat that I am talking about in this video is day-to-day average experience bloat, just retention of fluid or gas that can vary from day to day, can cause stomach distension, some discomfort, feelings of fullness, that sort of thing. Everyday, normal things. That's what I'm talking about when I'm referring to bloating in this video. All right, you know what? Before I go into my feelings about the war on bloat in the fitness industry, let's just talk about some of the common causes of it, easy ways to alleviate yourself, and like why it's not a big deal. It's safe to say it happens, it's normal, and let's go into why. These are not all-encompassing reasons, but these are the main reasons in my experience that I've dealt with, my peers have dealt with, my clients have dealt with. Very simple causes. And the major one actually seems counterintuitive, and that is lack of water intake. You think that retaining water, that adding more water to that equation wouldn't really make much sense, but when you're not taking in an adequate amount of water, what your body will do is hold on to the water it does have for dear life, causing bloating, stomach distension, general puffiness and inflammation, because there's an imbalance in your body. There's an imbalance of sodium and electrolytes, and your body is trying to hold on to the water that it does have in the system. If you do want to alleviate that type of bloat, if you want to see if that is the main cause behind your bloat, then I would just suggest upping your water intake. I drink a gallon of water a day. I know a lot of people swear by the gallon of water a day. Truth be told, a gallon of water a day, not necessary. 80 fluid ounces is probably sufficient for most people. I drink a gallon just because I like to. I like to drink water. What a concept. Just do something because it's your preference. If you think that you may be consuming far under the amount that you should be, that might be the culprit. Just try upping the water intake a little bit. It'll flush out that extra sodium, restore your water balances, and maybe things will just go back to normal. And like I said, bloating is normal. So if on any given day you're just more dehydrated, then another day you will be a little bloated, and that's fine. And you know what? Just drink more water. So that's potential cause number one of bloating, dehydration. And while I say, bloat isn't a big deal, you really should make sure that your hydration's in check. Not necessarily for bloat reasons, but because it's really important to stay hydrated for your body to perform at its optimal level, especially now during the summer. It's hot. If you're working out outside, because I know a lot of you are not going back to those gyms, and I do not blame you, really make sure that your hydration is in check. And with summer comes some summer partying, I know. And with that, we are at cause number 2, alcohol. I'm not much of a drinker, but I definitely notice a change in my body when I do have a night out drinking with friends. And that's because alcohol dehydrates your system. Basically 0.1A of staying hydrated. Alcohol dehydrates your body, again, will mess with your water and sodium and electrolyte levels in your body, therefore potentially causing bloat. It also causes your kidneys to work in overdrive, which in general, when anything in your body is working in overdrive, it can cause some general tissue inflammation, which will either present as some puffiness. We all know the dreaded drinking face puffiness the day after, that hungover moon face we got going on. Even if that's not directly contributing to any stomach distension that we've been talking about, it can contribute to just an overall feeling of discomfort and feeling bloated all over. That's why I generally like to follow the 1-for-1 rule. I'm sure the mom of your group has told you the 1-for-1 rule, which is 1 glass of water to every drink. That's not going to completely eliminate any possibility for bloating the next day, and that's not really our goal either. But it's going to help keep your hydration levels as balanced as possible, which we're all for that. The next potential cause for bloating, and this is where I start to tiptoe, because I do not want anyone to use this as a reason to demonize carbohydrates. Don't. Carbohydrates. There's nothing wrong with them. They are good. They are our body's preferred sources of energy, most efficient source of energy, and they're delicious. We love carbohydrates. However, if you do have a day where you're eating more carbohydrates than you normally would, you may experience some weight gain. And I say weight gain, not fat gain, weight. Just your relationship with gravity and the earth. Some weight gain, some water retention, some bloating. And the reason behind that is because carbs hold on to a water molecule. Carbs hold on to water in your body, so they need that water to be used as energy. You will hold on to more water if you are eating more carbs. That's why when people try keto for the first time, they experience this flush of immediate weight loss. Again, weight loss, not fat loss. And immediately are like, oh, this is the best thing ever. Keto for life. But you know what? Then that weight loss stalls, because once your body experiences that first flush of water weight leaving your system because you're not consuming as many carbohydrates, the food molecules in your body, mainly protein and fat, aren't holding on to that water. So, but we both know that studies of caloric deficit diets, regardless of the fat or carbohydrate makeup, level out over time. Remember that. So if I have a day where I'm not tracking my macros or anything, I'm just like taking a break, I'm like, I'm just having a day. I'm eating what I feel like eating, what makes me feel good, having fun with friends, and I might eat a whole charcuterie board to myself. Yeah, what's better than that, honestly? I may experience some bloating the next day because of the excess carbohydrates in my system that I'm not used to eating. And let's be clear, I eat plenty of carbs every day, but like my body's pretty goddamn pat. And then if I throw that off, it might be like, whoa, what? Let me just take a day to bloat, retain some water, figure this out, meet back up with you tomorrow. Makes sense? So do not panic if you've had a day where you've eaten more carbohydrates than you normally would and suddenly your body's retaining water. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It's holding onto those carbs and those water molecules and it's doing its thing. Let it do its thing. It's fine. My tip for alleviating bloat in this scenario is leave it alone. Your body's doing what it's designed to do. Just keep drinking your water, get back to your normal routine, live life as normal, and things will level out. Just like that. I know, and I say that as someone who literally had an anxiety attack about water retention last week, so keep that with a grain of salt. I know it's not easy to just be like, I am the picture of health. I am the picture of body acceptance. I do not care, but we're gonna try. Okay. All right, next on my list. That's some good iced coffee. Next on my list is pooping. It's pooping, man. We're all adults here, I'm assuming, so we can talk about this without making any doo-doo jokes, all right? Let's talk about bowel movements, being regular, all that sort of thing. Now, I have a routine. I eat a lot of similar things because I know it makes me feel good and I know what I like and it's easy that way and convenient. I do a lot of similar workouts. Like, I have my life down to a routine. I'm a routine person. I probably should switch it up more than I do, but I'm a routine person. And that routine extends to my bathroom habits. Like, I know when, where, how, like, got it down pat. That being said, if there's a day where things are, switched up, I wake up in the morning and I don't go to the bathroom, I like know right away. I'm like, something's off. Something's off. Sure enough, that will reflect on the scale. Now, I'm not going to get into the various causes behind constipation because I don't know why you're constipated. Like, that's something that you should probably figure out with your doctor. I mean, I would recommend Smooth Move if you're having an issue. That's as close as I'm gonna get to promoting like diarrhea tea, teamy blend, fit tea, bullcrap. Skip all that, buy Smooth Move at the grocery store. It doesn't lie to you, it says this will make you poop. Like, it doesn't pretend to be anything. Let's just assume you're constipated, you're figuring it out, that's personal discussion. These are the reasons why it contributes to bloating. Now, if you're constipated, you haven't pooped, you haven't had a bowel movement, obviously that stool being in your body is going to contribute to some weight on the scale because you haven't expelled it, it's in your body. That is just typical math. But that aside, it can also contribute to stomach distension because if you have waste in your body that hasn't been expelled yet and it's sitting in your intestines, it's just kind of chilling, waiting to feel comfortable to make its way out, the more time it sits there, the more time bacteria has to kind of colonize it and ferment and cause this gas buildup because of all the activity that's going on there. So if you feel particularly bloated, you've upped your water intake, you haven't been indulging in alcohol, you know, you're eating a regular amount of carbs, and you're doing your routine, maybe just sit on the toilet. But it's totally normal. If you haven't had a bowel movement for several days and you're experiencing severe discomfort, like, go see your doctor. So like I said, in that instance, there's not a lot you can do other than try to go to the bathroom, and if you can't, discuss with the doctor. Maybe, like I said, smooth move. Maybe I have some prune juice in my fridge just in case, but it's nothing to stress about. If you have like 1 or 2 days where you're not regular, that's something that's bound to happen. I know that happens to me when I'm traveling, like when I'm not in my own home. My body gets thrown off because I can't like feel completely comfortable. Just wait it out, and if it's taking a little longer than normal, maybe buy something to aid or go see a doctor, something like that. But do not panic. It's natural. It happens.
I am completely appalled that in all this talk about digestion and bacteria fermentation, I didn't really talk about the effect that a probiotic could have on your microbiome. So if you are having bloating issues that you think stem from gut issues, I highly suggest adding a probiotic into your daily routine, or just making sure that you ingest more foods with probiotics in them throughout your day. I personally take a probiotic supplement. Easy peasy, you can get them anywhere. So, hot, natural, healthy, body positive tip.
The last 2 things I want to discuss that can contribute to bloating. One's a little more obvious than the other, but they are both very related. And these 2 things are hormone related. I want to speak to my fellow menstrual cycle sufferers out there.
I was surfing the crimson wave. I had to haul ass to the ladies.
We all know that we can get the period bloat. It's just, it's our hormone levels are out of whack. You cannot expect your body to stay neutral during your period. There's so much going on. You know, hormones flying around left and right, digestion being upset, again, can slow down your digestion, cause some bacteria fermentation. Going back to the constipation issue, I know that I can have that issue during my period. You know, also your whole abdominal area is undergoing a lot of activity. It's dealing with the fact that you have decided yet again to not have a baby. How dare you? Do I really need to go in to what a period is? We know things are working hard, things are going to town, and like I said, with alcohol, you have any part of your body in overdrive, there's going to be some tissue inflammation, you know, between gas fermentation in your stomach, between your ovaries, uterus being inflamed. You cannot expect your body to be completely normal, and I don't want to say normal, completely neutral during a process like this. And that's why I got really ticked off when I saw an ad on my feed for gummies to help us keep our figure all cycle long. Do we really want to suppress like our body's natural process during this? Like, I know we already deal with birth control and all of that. Do we really want to tell our bodies that they can't even be even slightly incorrigible? Like, let it flow. It'll be over. It's fine. It's fine. Honestly, I mean, I say that just from an emotional response. I haven't really gone into the research of what the ingredients are on those kind of supplements, but there's no reason to panic about menstrual bloating. It's something we all deal with, or people who get their period deal with. To a certain extent, some people suffer from it more than others, but the common denominator here is this too shall pass. And sometimes that bloating doesn't have to happen directly when your cycle is your heaviest. Sometimes, I know for me, I experience that bloating the week leading up to my period. Sometimes I experience it the week after my period when I'm like recovering from it. It's unpredictable. Hormones are unpredictable. In summary, if you're trying to maintain some sort of control over what your body's doing during your menstrual cycle, give up now. Your body is gonna do what it needs to do, and the best thing, the best tip in this scenario is let it. you're gonna see that there's a common theme with this whole subject. And a lot of that is just like relinquish control and trust. Speaking from a complete control freak with trust issues. But like I said, this is for me too. Relinquish control and trust. And that leads right into my second to last thing, because I just thought of another one, which is stress. Stress and anxiety can contribute to water retention and bloating for a couple of reasons. One being stress affects people in different ways. For some people, it like speeds up their digestion and it gives them diarrhea and therefore dehydrates your body, which sometimes can lead to bloating, sometimes not. Or it can slow down digestion, which can lead to bacteria buildup, fermentation, gas retention. I do find that when I get into those holes where I'm really stressing about the number on the scale or reaching certain numbers or hitting my goals during a self-prescribed time frame, that my progress really starts to slow down on the scale because I am so stressed about it that I am sabotaging myself. Again, this also comes into play from a hormonal perspective. Stress can really alter your hormones, your hormone balance, your cortisol, which again will lead to inflammation. Anxiety, especially with severe anxiety disorders or chronic anxiety issues, can lead to bloating, especially as it pertains to breathing patterns. If you have trouble with hyperventilation or other breathing issues similar to hyperventilation, it can lead to a lot of excess air intake, which can cause some bloating when you have some gas retention. The same issue can also happen when you chew too much gum because you're chewing and chewing and you're intaking all this air, gas retention. In this scenario, I don't want to boil it down to just like, well, calm down, because how condescending is that? But again, the best thing that you can do is realize that being hands-off and not trying to exert control over these details, just know in your mind that the science behind that is that you will be better off and your body will be better off if you allow it to go through the processes that it's going to go through and not try to intervene at every step to maintain or alleviate. More likely than not, you are going to exacerbate the issue. And the last thing I want to discuss, which again I just thought of, it goes along the same lines of what I was talking about with tissue inflammation. When any part of your body is in overdrive and working extra hard, there's going to be some tissue inflammation, and this is present frequently after intense workouts. I know there's a lot of impulse, especially with beginners who don't necessarily have a firm grasp on how fat loss works and how the relationship between nutrition and exercise pertains to your goal reaching. Sometimes people think, oh, I did an extra hard workout, I must have burnt all this fat. Next morning, I want to step on the scale. And now we both know that fat burn doesn't come from one intense workout. It's a pattern over time, but I get the impulse. And then there's that disappointment there when you step on the scale and you're up 2 pounds. When the truth of the matter is that your body might just be inflamed and bloated because your muscles work so hard and all the different micro tears that happen, and it's actively recovering. And water retention and inflammation are tools that the body uses to aid in that recovery. So trying to minimize water retention and minimize bloating could actually backfire, and you won't be able to fully recover in the way that your body wants to recover. We all know that recovery is just as important during goal reaching as your exercise components and your diet components. Recovery days, rest days are so important. If you do not give your body the leeway it needs, then you could be cutting your progress short. So again, I know this isn't what people want to hear, but this is another scenario in which you just have to let it happen, because you are doing your body the most good by encouraging those recovery processes. Just keep up with your hydration, take your rest day, but keep up with your hydration, do everything else as normal, and your body will follow suit. Now we've gone over some of the common causes behind bloating, water retention, inflammation, all of that, and things that you can do in those scenarios. I want to talk about the current narrative surrounding bloating, which in my opinion has been fairly problematic. Again, barring anyone who wants to alleviate severe bloating and discomfort brought on by medical conditions. Not talking about that, but the narrative surrounding average day-to-day fluctuation, this urgency to cut down on bloating, all this content I see surrounding why you're bloated and how to stop it, and it's becoming more and more apparent to me that this is just fat phobia in disguise. This demand for products or content designed for people to utilize to attack their own bloating is troubling. You know, we are now in this phase of health and wellness where we are all about body positivity, we're all about body acceptance. You know, fat phobia is no more. We're not talking about that. We're talking about bettering ourselves, not just our aesthetics. And it seems that the war on bloat is just a roundabout way of taking a more seemingly medical stance to less than flat tummies. It becomes such an urgent concern to wake up with a flat stomach and minimize bloating. Is that really a health initiative? Or is that just another way to capitalize on people's, I don't want to say innate desire to have a flatter stomach, because it's definitely a socially constructed desire, but we all have a little bit in there. It seems that there's a lot of things being developed that are trying to harness that and say, oh, here's another way you can hate yourself. Like I touched on earlier in this video, it's really easy to fall into this trap of judging your worth on a day-to-day basis based on the visibility of your abs that morning. And anyway, as I was saying, oh my God, so much hair. As I was saying, when you're undergoing some normal fluctuation, some normal day-to-day bloating, water retention because of natural occurrences that are happening in your body, the desire to cut down on that at a certain point, it isn't health motivated. It's purely aesthetic. I'm not demonizing anybody who have entered into that chase of abs every morning, because I get it. I'm in that. You know, I know at my leanest exactly what I look like. So when I'm retaining a little water, it's very noticeable, and it's very hard not to get into my head about that. And immediately I can think, well, I know this isn't fat gain. I know this is just water. So how can I get rid of this water? I never stop to think, maybe my body's holding on to the water because it's doing things with it. It needs to hold on to the water. With that in mind, I think that it's dangerous to get into the territory of trying to control our body's processes to that minute of a detail. And again, I'm saying this as someone who has to fight against that impulse frequently. There's only a certain amount of things that we are in control of. Our diet, our exercise, you know, not even necessarily our mental health, but how we approach our mental health. And the rest is faith. The rest is trust. The rest is saying, I'm doing what I need to do. I'm holding up my end of the bargain, and I have to trust that my body is doing what's best for me, and it will follow suit. If that means that my journey looks like this and not like this or like this, that's because that's the way it's meant to be. Embrace the bloat. Your body is holding on to water because it is doing shit. It is getting things done. It's recovering. It's digesting. It's living. And this war on bloat, I think it's just part of it's, you know, like a Scooby-Doo villain. It's fat phobia with a mask on. It really is. Because God forbid our tummies look a little chubby in the morning. It's life. We all know this. Instagram is not real. I'm guilty of feeding into this, because do you think I post like physique photos on days where I'm retaining a lot of water? No. But I could look 10 pounds heavier after posting a day with abs just because of any number of natural processes that are going on. And I think it's safe to say that it's the same for a lot of people who are active on social media. They are posting on the days they look the leanest or the most defined, the closest to what they want to look like. And I understand the impulse behind that, because I have this narrative going on in my head thinking, when I'm my leanest, that's me. That is a reflection of my work. That is my body. I made it. That's me. And on any days where I'm not that, and I'm retaining water, I look a little bloated, I look different from what I want me to be, then it's easy to think, okay, there's something wrong that needs to be fixed so I can go back to being me. But the truth is, me with abs and me with a little pooch, they're all me. I can, you can, they can, anyone can look so different on a day-to-day basis because their body is amazing. Bodies are amazing things. They do so many things. They're going to look different on a day-to-day basis, and all of those are you, and it's fine. So before I just go into like a self-love rant of bloating's okay, embrace it, like for 20 minutes straight, we're gonna end it here. I just want to say that the culmination of all of this information overload is just trust. You know what they say, like, we make plans and God laughs. It's the same thing with our body, with our biology. We can try to control and goal set and microanalyze everything as much as we want to, but at the end of the day, this is what's in control, and we have to trust and let it do its thing and be kind to ourselves, be kind to other people, because we're all going through this. I'm really happy that I made this video. This is like the first kind of informational video that I've made that's also like highly personal to my experience. And I'm so down to be more transparent with those things. Very excited to do more videos like this in the future. If there's anything that you are dealing with in particular that's just like driving you nuts in your journey right now and you want to know the why, or just be told it's okay, let me know. I'd love to do a video on it. Like this video if you've been at odds with bloat and just are having trouble relinquishing, because I get it. And subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you guys soon. You know I don't make promises, so. As always, please go to healthbycf.com if you are interested in strength coaching, nutrition coaching. All right, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.